Hey, welcome to What Matters Most with Faith Community. I'm Fawn Ellerbrook, and I'm so glad you're here as we discover the things that really matter in our lives and how we can grow along the way. In today's conversation, we get to hear the story of an incredible couple that has lived life well and has just made some really wise decisions about how they handle their resources. Tim Moore sat down with Norm and Glynis Wohlschlaeger as they share their story of building a healthy financial lifestyle so that they can live free and bless others.
Well, welcome everybody. Glad you're with us today, and we're going to be talking about personal finance, everybody's favorite topic, and we're all just an open book, right? Like, we just share everything and lay it out on the table. But this is something that obviously it affects every single one of us, and so we want to talk about those topics. And I'm joined today. My name is Tim, and I'm an executive pastor at Faith Community Church in House Springs. Also, have a licensed investment advisor and help people manage their retirements and their wealth and financial planning and leaving a legacy to others. And also get to coordinate Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University from time to time, which is an awesome program. And we'll probably talk more about that later. But guys, thank you for being here. I've got Norm and Glynis Wohlschlaeger with us. And would you introduce yourself and tell us kind of a little bit of your story? Glynis, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, Tim. Good to see you today.
You too.
Hey, we have been married 38 years, which is a really long time, but it's been 38 great years.
I am turning 38 next month, so that is amazing. And we shouldn't have said that.
We're only 50, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so Norm and I were actually high school sweethearts, and we got married shortly out of high school, and we've been living in the St. Louis area for our whole lives. So we're grounded here. In our church here, in our community, and our family, and we love the Midwest.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Raised 4 kids here, had a lot of fun in the area, just kind of, growing up in a blue-collar type environment. Nothing super special or anything like that, but yeah, really like it.
Nice.
On that area and stuff.
And Norm, what do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm project coordinator, so what that means is I put out fires.
No, nice.
Yeah, it works. So when there's a mess or people need money for engineering projects, then I help them find the money and deal with it.
Gotcha.
Get the money for that and stuff.
Awesome. And you're also currently a board member at our church. You've served as an elder in the past, and you guys have both volunteered in lots of different ministries, small groups, hospitality, that type of stuff.
Yes, correct.
That's awesome.
Taught quite a few Dave Ramsey classes.
Yeah. There you go.
And even outside of the church environment, volunteering for different things, kind of stepping in. We did Boy Scouts for a number of years. She used to help at the school a lot, volunteering and stuff down there.
I was a volleyball coach one year.
Gosh,
I can't play volleyball, but for 7th grade girls, I did it.
There you go.
You did the Girls on the Run type stuff.
Ooh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Cool. You're brave. I don't know if I didn't get in that environment, if I didn't know anything about it. Man. So tell me about your guys' journey and a little bit of your story, especially as it relates to your personal financial habits. Like you mentioned, grew up blue collar, kind of used to that lifestyle. Midwest, that tends to be just very traditional in this area. What was your journey like? Just start wherever you want to start and tell us a little bit about it.
So on both sides, both sets of parents, my mom and dad worked real hard. Her dad worked extremely hard. Her mom was a stay-at-home mom. Blue collar wages, worked every day. Just going and working, plugging every way, going and doing what they're supposed to. But never really. Never really had a lot of, resources or didn't know a lot about savings. So there was nothing there that they could really teach us. Like with, my sets with my parents, it was more of, what payment do I need to pay in order to buy these things? Mm-hmm. It was never about trying to own something or trying to manage debt or anything like that. Not super high wages, but good wages. Us, we've never made great sums of money, but we've gone to work every day and just gotten opportunities through work or circumstances or whatever that we always had work. Even during economic downturns, there was always somebody that needed to do something, and not being afraid to step forward and and saying, yeah, I can do that. It might not be my favorite thing at the time, but somebody was willing to pay us to do whatever. Both of us have done that. And I started, working since I was 11 years old, doing different things.
What was your first job?
I worked for a place that they brought back repossessed mobile homes,
Oh, really?
and my job was to help clean them out. So I
Oh.
made $1 an hour doing that.
Buck an hour.
Now, on the good, if I did painting, then that was $1.50 an hour. So, but for 11-year-old,
Nice.
that was great.
So you offered
that was-
additional services
Yes,
to
that was
bump
great.
that up
money.
a little bit.
Yeah, I
Wow.
actually painted a truck one time. You
Yeah.
know, like a pick. Like
Did you know how to do that, or you
No,
just made it up?
I just
So it wasn't the best paint
with
job. but-
with a brush. Not like a.
So you saw the streaks and
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
marks
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what he wanted done. So that's again, he paid me, and okay, I'll paint the truck if that's
Yeah.
what you want done. So,
Wow.
but done other things over the years. Did landscaping. Did work for a contractor, which we put on room additions and bathrooms. And then at one point, as the kids were getting older, and she had carried the insurance where she had worked, and mine never did. So I had to get something that paid insurance. Then I started working to more factory jobs and worked at a place packing instruments, medical instruments.
Okay.
And a friend of ours at the time had a position, and it wasn't what I really wanted to do, but, they paid me, and that allowed her to, where after a certain period of time, to stop working and stay at home more with the kids.
Gotcha. Wow.
And then just other jobs came along, and I think going to work and having relationships with people, it can lead to other jobs in the future. So a lot of
Right.
us that work where I work now, we've been working together. Oh my gosh, 30 years at different places. So if
Yeah.
something happened, and it's all about character and who do you want to work with. You
Right.
try to pull somebody along.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Glynis, you guys have been married almost 38 years, right? So do you remember your first money fight or your first crisis that we were like, oh man, we've got to get together and figure this thing out?
No.
Did you block it out of your mind?
What I remember is just we were so very young when we got married. I was 19 and he was 21. And so we're
Maybe.
very young. We both just had, I was working at White Castle, and I think he was doing landscaping at that time. And so we just had a little bit of money and our little bit of things that we had, but we were happy.
Yeah.
And what happens in America is, you get married and you get a bigger place and you have a baby and you get a bigger place and you have a baby. So I think our money problems really started. We had purchased our second house and I was pregnant, and I ended up being pregnant with twins. And so that was probably when up until that time, we had been fairly well with what we had and managing it and that. But then after that, that just really took a toll on us, and I was off work a little bit, and I didn't want to continue to go work because we had 3 kids at that time. We had our oldest son and then the twins. And so I guess the money maybe just got a little bit less, and our relationship got a little bit more distant from each other. We were busy. We weren't seeing each other, having times to sit and talk. And so then that's when it really set in that we started getting behind on house payments and
Gotcha.
and things like that. And it was a pretty rough time. It was a dark time in our life. We were both pretty unhappy. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the money fight, the worst one I remember is, it was right around Christmas time, and this had been after she had stopped working, and there was only so much money to go around. And so we got in an argument about it. We thought this is what we need to do, and there wasn't enough. And I think at the time that was kind of a breaking point of, okay, we need to do something different
Yeah.
because, we've got the 3 kids, we're trying to do the best we can, but we're falling farther and farther behind. And, so that was kind of a little bit of a wake up call that it really got to that we were fighting over, Christmas stuff.
Right.
You know, and at the time, everybody was, you felt obliged to buy presents for everybody, but there was just not enough money to be able to do all that. So then we kind of regrouped, and over time just try to figure some stuff out.
Right. Yeah, similar to me, and we all have those moments when we remember something. It might be an event or just a realization hits you that something's got to change because this is not sustainable, right? Like we
Right.
can't keep down this road. I know for me, I grew up kind of similar to you guys, kind of typical middle class Midwest family, great parents, loving family. My dad had a little bit more of a white collar job, and we weren't rich, but we were fine. I didn't really want for much,
Right.
and so I didn't think about money ever because it was not a problem. Like it was just, we weren't taking the nicest vacations, but we had decent cars. We did on trips and stuff like that. So for me, I was just ignorant going into college and having to be on my own for the first time and, manage rent and all those things. And so when my wife and I got married, I was used to, I'd seen my mom be the one to kind of just do the bills, and my dad was the breadwinner, and that's just kind of how the relationship works. So I figured I'll just do that. So I let Misty say, okay, you do the budget, and you just tell me how much I have to spend. We'll figure it out. And to that point, I couldn't tell you how much was in my checking account. It was just like, this is a feel thing. I as long as I didn't get like a warning thing, a warning sign that you're getting ready to be overdrafted, I'm good. And we lived the first 6-7 years of our marriage like that. We didn't get into trouble, but we didn't build anything. It was just kind of like paycheck to paycheck, surviving. And I remember for us, we were living in Florida at the time, and that was a interruption of our lifestyle because it was more expensive to live down there. We getting ready to have our second, and it didn't make sense for Missy to continue to work because we're going to be paying all this money and
Making money backwards.
Exactly. And so it's like, well, what's the point? And she wanted to be home anyway. So we made that tough choice. She was working part-time. And I remember finally, she's like, Tim, you have got to help me with this budget. I can't do this by myself. And you're not exactly helping me with it because you don't know what's going on. So we looked at it, and I remember seeing it. And at the time, I was working full-time at a church. I was giving piano lessons on the side, and I was doing graphic design. So I was doing 3 things. I was plenty busy. And our budget was such that I had to make up an additional $500 a month just to break even. And I'm like, it felt like something was around my throat. Like I could not. So I know those moments stick with you, and you remember that, and you don't want to go back there. So what was it for you guys that was like, something's got to change? What was the first decision you made that maybe set you on the right track, or was there more turmoil to go first?
Oh, there's more turmoil.
So it did get pretty close to us considering divorce. And like I said, the relationship was pretty stale. The big thing that happened is we started going to church and invited God into our lives to start directing us and guiding us, and start using some of the principles that are in the Bible. There are a lot of things in there about money and relationships and stewardship and different things like that can help guide your life. And with those things, there are promises / rewards, benefits that come along with that. And so anytime that we invited God into anything that was going on into our life, it brought life into our life.
Yeah.
It brought hope and peace and, just comfort.
Now, did you all have a faith background before that, or were you just like
No.
willing to try anything at this point?
Not at all.
No,
Really?
I think my sister said something like, yeah, you're right. You don't need God. You know everything. And after she left and I thought about it, and I was like,
You were mad.
I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything. My marriage is falling apart. Our finances are falling apart. My life is falling apart. I know nothing.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
I had to get outside of myself.
Yeah.
But I remember when Norm spoke previously about when he started a job like in a warehouse or a factory.
Yeah.
we had to make $7.50. He had to make $7.52 an hour. This was a while back because we're old, and to like pay just like our bills.
Basic, even but it
because I had
wasn't
decided
covered.
at that time that I was going to stay home with our 3 kids, and we went on to have an additional 4th child. And so, $7.52 an hour. And I think when he started, his pay was like $7.82. So God had already blessed us with 40
There you
cents
go.
more an hour.
You were rolling in it at that point.
And, and you just be faithful with God gives you. And he would work overtime, and he just, got a promotion, got a raise, changed a job, got a promotion, got a raise, changed a job. And God, if we just look back through our life, God's fingerprints and his blessing are just all over everything.
Yeah, right.
Because stuff never came early, but it did come just on time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. A little bit of a nail biter moment.
Yeah.
But it
Sometimes
always
late,
works
maybe.
out. Yeah.
In my time frame.
Hey, no guilt. No condemnation here. So obviously the spiritual component was huge, as
Yes.
it is for, most people go through this journey. So that you needed that, but that's one component of it. When did the behavioral realization start to change where, okay, we have God, and now we're learning about this whole concept of being a good steward, maybe, or where you'd start to make really hard decisions to change your trajectory.
Well, I think I mentioned the Christmas story.
Right.
Well, it's not really the good Christmas story,
Right.
but it was a Christmas story. And for a long time while I was working, she was managing the budget, and I didn't have a lot of knowledge. So when we realized that things were not, working out, I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. Blah blah blah. And I go, which she was fine with, because I think I was driving her crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, my gosh, how has she been doing this all this time with whatever's coming in? So that kind of led us to make some of the hard decisions of, okay, we don't have to keep up with everybody. But again, back to the Christmas stuff, at the time we were all trading gifts back and forth, which doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So we told the family, hey, we're gonna, we have three kids. We're gonna buy for them. We don't want to really participate in any of the trading of the gifts back and forth. That was like a revolution to take place.
Gotcha.
The cars would break down. Her dad had worked at the time at one of the auto manufacturers, and you could get a blue sheet, red sheet,
Family discount.
family
yeah.
discount. He goes, I'll
right.
just go buy a new car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just you can't, because there's only so much money coming in. But it was just finding different ways to be content with what you have, taking care of your stuff that you have, and just plugging away a little bit each time. As far as vacations, people talk about Disney World and all that. Our kids had a good time. We would go camping, we would go swimming, we do different things, look for free stuff all the time, and then trying to fit that into work, around work, and all the other stuff we were doing.
Right.
I think sometime you got a hold of a gal named Mary Hunt.
Mary Hunt,
And
Cheapskate Monthly.
Yeah,
yes.
she had a magazine that
What
she
was
would
the
do
name of that?
monthly, Cheapskate Monthly.
Yeah.
And
What
we
a
got
title.
it from the library because we didn't want to pay for a prescription.
You were a cheapskate getting the cheapskate.
That's pretty much it.
And
Got
so
it.
we
Wow.
would get those, and we would read those up, and we just, she had a book, which I don't remember the name of it. But
Cheapskate Monthly. I don't know if that
no,
was
that wasn't it.
Okay.
But that was almost like our Bible. We read that thing and we devoured it. And I guess what caught my attention, a few things, is one, I wanted help. And I wanted help that was going, we didn't make $100,000 a year and need help. We made $30,000 a year and needed help. And 4 kids, so a family of 6. And it was just so simple and basic that with a high school diploma, I could understand that.
Yeah.
And so it really gave us some good goals and talked about, emergencies and like planning, like Christmas, which is a once a year
It's amazing.
expense.
Christmas comes every year.
Right, yeah.
So-
Yeah, and like,
clockwork.
planning, like saving for, oh, you do want to go on a vacation, so how are you going to save all year? So when
Right.
your vacation comes, you already have the cash.
Right.
Or the same thing with buying a car or just a washer, tires on your car, brakes on your car. And so I think that got us motivated.
Yep.
We really had the desire. We wanted something different, something better. And then we started getting some resources. And then that just added fuel to our fire to get us going. And with our marriage reconciled and with God in the center of it, we were working together. And
Talk more about that, the whole idea of working together, because the studies have shown that there's nothing better than when you have a married couple working together for their finances. It's you can do so much more because you have, I think, the accountability, the partnership. Were you guys both all in from day one, or did it take one of you a little bit longer to get there?
I think we were both all in, but we didn't agree on every stuff. And honestly, we probably shouldn't have agreed on
right,
everything.
different ideas
Yeah.
how to get to the end result, maybe.
Yeah.
But you agreed on the end result, maybe
Yes,
just how to get
yes.
there.
We knew that we wanted to change our family. We knew we wanted to change our family
Yeah.
trees than what we'd seen with
Yeah.
with our
Yep.
parents and stuff like that. We knew we did not want to go through some of the headaches and heartache and everything else that they did, and we wanted to give something better to our kids. And when I say give something better, I'm not talking necessarily monetarily, but just not worrying about money all the time, but being able to kind of manage it in a systematic
Right.
way.
I think that's huge. We all have to have an ultimate why, because money is finite, it's temporary. None of us are going to take it with us. So
Right.
what's the greater purpose that money is here to serve? And, we can all get excited about the idea of making more money and buying nicer things. But that's, it's just going to keep changing the benchmark or the goal. It's a moving target. But when you have a deeper purpose of why you're doing this, you're really changing like you said, your family tree, and changing a mindset, for generations to come that can say, hey, remember when, Norm and Glynis made those hard choices and we started on a better footing because of that.
We part of it is money's just money. It's just a thing.
Right.
But we had to create some kind of vision of what we wanted our lives to look like, and what we wanted our kids' lives to look like. We knew that education is real important for us, even though we're not college graduates per se. We wanted them to have the ability and to be able to go to college, and because we knew that on the ultimate thing that would be beneficial, and at the same time not have a gigantic amount of debt at the end of the day.
Right.
So that was part of our vision. So then our vision was, how do we get to being even coming close to that kind of place? So as the kids were small, we had to manage what we had. Okay, we didn't have enough to have them all go through, college at 100% pay, but we knew we had to take care of what we knew that we had to take care of. Mm-hmm. So some of the vision was, okay, we kind of talked about, we know things are going to come up that aren't really going to emergency. Tires in your car are not an emergency. So we created funds for, we had names for them, freedom funds. Okay, we're going to spend so much on tires a year. So we were starting to tell our money where to go before it just went somewhere on its own.
Right.
And we just did that day in and day out. And that even some of the categories we had started, we didn't have enough money to put in those categories. We knew on a yearly basis we spent that, but we just kind of started adjusting those categories. We talked about, did we agree on the methods or anything? Did we agree on the methods or anything, or agree on it all the time? No, we didn't. But we were able to kind of go ahead.
Well, when you're talking about vision, Norm, I was thinking that that's one thing that I think we've done a really good job with, and just communicating a lot, taking time for our marriage, taking date nights or, short mini vacations away as our kids got older into, junior high and high school, and that to where we could really talk. making time to share our hopes and our dreams and our feelings. And as you have that vision in front of you all the time, like where you want to be when you're retired, where you want, your kids' lives to go, where you want your ministry to go, or your just the fruits of your labor, when you have that in front of you and you can like see the goal, then the sacrifices that you have to make along the way. Like, I'm not going to buy all 15 of my great nieces and nephews a Christmas present because they all get Christmas presents from their other people. They don't need them from me. So whenever you start making those sacrifices, I'm going to drive an older car. But one day I'm going to buy a Ford truck for $16,000 and I'm going to pay cash for it. I didn't know that, but we were able to do that. So with that vision, we just can't. I mean, that's one of the things when we teach classes that we really push, because it will help you in the tough times, in the times that you're struggling. And your struggle may be financial, it may be, mental, it may be your relationship, whatever. But when you have that before you and you know that God's on your side.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we take from like the Christmas memory, how many years did it take for you guys to get from that point to where you felt like, not like you've made it, but you finally are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel where these hard choices and cuts that you did is paying off and, you can start to actually build something?
We put all our debt in a spreadsheet, and I had it plastered, and they taught this, I think, even Dave Ramsey or Mary Hunt or whatever. And so
The debt snowball when Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. Yep. So we printed all that out, and we had it on the refrigerator. Actually, on the wall, because it wouldn't fit on the refrigerator. It was too long. So you figure out, this is my debt, and how long will it take to pay it off. And so it was about 4 years before all the miscellaneous stuff was paid off. Obviously, we still had a car payment. I'm sorry, not a car payment. A house payment.
Mortgage,
yeah.
Right.
But
everything
all the
else,
other
it took about
stuff-
4 years.
Okay.
About 4 to 5
To wind
years.
down.
So
There we go.
that's like to get the debt down too.
Yes.
But then an additional probably 6 years
I'd say so.
to really get like our freedom accounts where they have money in them, all of our long-term expenses or irregular expenses, to have those funded, and to have a budget that wasn't squeezing you really tight. That like, this is exactly how much money we have for food, and if we run out of this money, then we eat ramen noodles in the cabinet.
I love ramen
so-
noodles.
Hey, that's good.
So probably I'd say a good 10 to 12
total.
years. And we really just got into the flow of, how our budget wants to look, how we want to give, how we want to save. Just continually always learning from people, learning from the Bible, learning from people, books, just anything you can get your hands on to make it all fit together and to really expand it to where you want it to be.
I think learning from people, examples of people that are content in their life, not high leverage spenders, and then you realize they don't have any debt and they have a fair amount of money saved up. You listen to those kind of people and try to get words of wisdom out of them. The people you try not to listen to are the ones that, they have a bunch of payments and they're making good money and they have a bunch of payments.
Did you have people close to you that would say, "You guys are? Why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense."
Oh my gosh.
So
And
many
they say
naysayers,
Yeah.
and Norman probably took the heat of most of that.
Because I would be the buffer. I didn't want her to have to kind of put up with it.
And you were really more like
Diplomatic.
he's the nerd on the budget, and
Yeah.
I'm the free spirit.
Yeah.
If you're
Gotcha.
a Dave Ramsey fan, and also I don't really care what people think about me, so it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, so we're in a lot of this stuff. In a lot of ways, we're opposites. Because if it was up to me, I'd live in the van down by the river. So
That is true. An ugly,
She is-
dirty,
yeah.
old van.
she has saved me from that. So, she would like, oh, we need to do this, this, and this. Like, I don't know. We'd have a great time doing it, and
Yeah,
so
so
we
she
needed
reminds you
that.
to enjoy the journey along the way,
Yes.
not just be only focused on that bottom line.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
Well, that's so cool. So what does life look like today for you guys?
Happy.
Happy and blessed.
So there's still contentment embedded in everything. If I need something, I can't afford to purchase it if I want to.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of stuff we need, and even stuff as simple as new tools. If I can find it on it's marketplace now, and years ago it used to be Craigslist or Trading Times. If I can find it,
Yeah.
I just get it there. It's not stuff doesn't mean anything.
I just bought us an air fryer on Marketplace
Air
because it was
fryer.
$20, and they're like
great.
$60 to $100 on Amazon, and I'm only going to use it to warm up my French fries and my fried chicken. So
There you go.
I think the $20 was worth it. It looked pretty new, and it had the book with it.
I think you can splurge for that.
Yeah,
That
well,
$20 air fryer.
And it's just because things aren't important to us.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
we may not
Well-
always enact it, but we try to make our philosophy people are more important than things.
Yeah.
And then service, stewardship, and things don't make you happier.
Right.
I mean, they can, but they're not the end all.
And at the end of the day, it's just stuff. We've had to shut down some relatives' lives as they got older and stuff. It's just stuff. It's you can't take it with you,
Right.
like you said. It's if you buy it for $1, it's worth 5 cents to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it works. So, and I don't want to sound like, oh my gosh, they live. They're just pulling stuff out of the garbage. That's not it. We still get stuff we want to do and do things we want to do, but not.
For our 30th wedding
Oh my gosh,
anniversary,
yeah.
we went to Mexico, and that was the first time. No, that was the first time we'd ever gone anywhere together as a couple
Just
and
the two of
something
you.
so extravagant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before that, when our youngest daughter graduated from high school, we'd made a pact with 2 other sets of couple friends that when all of our kids graduated from high school, we would go somewhere, and we went on a cruise for that. And that was I think that was the first time I'd flown on an airplane.
Yes.
And the first time we'd ever really done any kind of vacation like that. And so, but since then, we've done several of those things. And sorry, kids,
You're staying home.
they make their own money now.
That's right.
But
they got to go through their own
you know,
journey.
so there were things that we didn't do like that we can do now that
Yeah.
were, that we enjoy. We can, we can give more. We can obviously save more.
And part of that is that we've allowed our money. We've gone to work every day, so that's the first part. If you have a job and you're able to go to work every day, even when you don't want to. But we've allowed our money to be able to work for us. So in the beginning, your money's only making you a relatively small. It's only a small part of your whole package. But after a while, it's almost like having a third person live in your house that's making money and not taking up any expenses. And that's kind of what it's.
Can they come and help me do yard work? Because I need a third person
No,
with that.
no, sorry.
Darn.
Is there a fund for that? Is there a freedom fund for the extra help with the yard work?
No, there is. Oh,
There's a
there we
house
go.
We have a house fund.
But I wouldn't be willing to fund it because I can do the work myself.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think, kind of, you guys are both talking about it. When you learn these money principles, when you have more of it, it doesn't negate what you've learned, and you still want to get
yeah.
things
Oh, yeah.
for a bargain if you can. You want to be wise. And I think what happens, like what you said is true. Money, you realize that money is just a tool, but money represents your time, your hard-earned
Yes.
time. And so, the more you have of it, you realize, I don't want to throw away my time. I worked hard for
Yes,
this.
true.
And so, you're still going to be wise. And I remember for us, yeah, kind of going back to my story, when we realized we were so in the hole and we went through financial peace back in about 2013, they made our entire church go through it. So the staff had to go through it first. And that was my fire that lit under me that said, I need to get serious and help with this. And I went kind of like you, Norm. I hadn't touched it, and I realized that I needed to nerd out on it and put together all the spreadsheets and the numbers. And so, it was like nothing radical or something I hadn't heard before, but it became alive to me for the first time. And so it took us about, I would say, we took about 3 years to pay off all of our consumer debt, not including the house, and get that emergency fund saved. And yeah, our lives look very different now.
Yes.
When the first time you feel like, oh, I can do something, it feels like kind of wrong at first. Like you're just not used to it. That you can do okay, we can go a little bit. We don't have to go uber cheap on this, trip. We can maybe do something a little bit nicer. We can maybe move up in car a little bit. But it does just make you really value the decisions you make, and realizing that you want to invest your money into things that are going to appreciate and grow for you,
Right.
and not just throw it all away. And that's, I think, one of the biggest revelations we can go through when we really take a serious look at our decision making and our finances in that way. So.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, there's no magic bullet. We didn't win the lottery. There's nothing like that. It's just being progressive, doing a lot of things right, doing some things wrong, trial and error, listening to people that have gone before you and have done it, and then trying not to let the naysayers just eat your lunch, because,
And you can't keep up with the Joneses.
No.
And because the Joneses are broke and in debt, so don't
Right.
even
Yeah,
try that.
Exactly.
A good book we also read, kind of off topic, sorry, The Millionaire Next Door. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the person that you
Yeah.
don't know is a millionaire because
Right.
they live like you.
Yep. Yep.
And maybe even a little less than you. They drive older cars because they're paid for, and they don't have a swimming pool in their backyard. And sorry if you have a swimming pool, it's nothing bad.
Nothing wrong with that. No judgment.
But you think, oh wow, they really don't have that much money. They do.
Right.
That just
Right.
they've just learned
Yeah.
contentment, and they're using their money for different things maybe than you are.
Right.
So
I think that like if I were talking to somebody younger, when you're young, let's say you're in your 20s, you're just starting out. You don't have any money yet. You don't have
Right.
anything, but you have time.
yes,
And you can't get that back. And
Right.
what you said, Norm, is true. It's not like, hitting the lottery, or, most people don't have like $1 million inheritance coming to them where they can just, cruise. It's the time and the consistency and just doing the little things over and over and over again that yields those results. And so, realize wherever you start, just the amount of time you have left, that can compound your results. So, when you're in your 40s and 50s, you've got a little bit more. You still got time, but you've got more fruit from those decisions, good or bad, that you're going to make. It's going to compound over time. And so just recognize the value of that. And it, it's not easy. You don't want to think about it, especially when you're young. You just like, I want to enjoy my life. I want to, while I'm young and healthy and have all these opportunities, but those opportunities will be there. Make some of those sacrifices now and see the results in a few years, what that does for you.
In the beginning of this, I had to work on my cars or the house because I had to. There was no money to really pay anybody. Well, now I have choices. There's
Right.
certain things I love to still work on, and that's the ones I pick. And there's certain things I either don't have the time, or I should not be doing anymore, like getting up on the roof and working on stuff. So I'm able to afford to pay somebody, and there's a fund for that because we know we're going to spend so much money a year, so we need to allocate that money. Again, it comes down to you're telling your money where to go before it goes somewhere else.
Right.
I think a lot of people get scared when they think about getting a hold of their finances, or just getting a grip on it. And look, for one thing, they're afraid what they'll see when they pull it all out and how bad it may actually be.
Ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and then the other thing is they feel they're not smart enough, they don't have enough tools, it's too difficult, and it's basic math. You can't spend more than you make.
Right.
And if you can, find a way, and there is a way to, make less than you make, give some of your money away, save as much money as you can.
Yeah.
You can do it. Anybody can do it. You can, find you some books, go through a Dave Ramsey course, just read and ask people that that are successful financially, and
Yeah.
you can do it. It may take time, like we discussed, but it's definitely something that anybody can do.
Right.
Spending less than you make over a long period of time. I mean, we've had the opportunity to sit down with some people who have had issues. Glennis mentioned it's basic math. We've talked to people that have education all the way from high school to master's degrees. So it's not really, it's education. It's more of, contentment and what you really need. I think one of the stories that sticks out, we talked to somebody that they were accountants, and they were making pretty good money, but they were going broke. And everybody, we sit down with people, and everybody knows kind of what their car payment is, their house payment is. But when you ask people what they spend, and we were the same way. We didn't realize, wow, we were really in a hole here.
Yeah.
What do you spend on food? What do you spend on eating out? What do you spend on gas? I don't
know.
No idea.
Right. Yeah.
Had no clue.
So common.
I think part of we still do it, tracking expenses. I mean, what do we do?
So even today,
Absolutely.
you still are just as diligent about giving those dollars an assignment and planning them out ahead of time.
Figuring
the
out
nerd is.
When we first started the journey, one of the things had to do is, Mary Helen would say, you need to track your expenses. What do you spend your money on? And so we had a notebook. We just a
spiral notebook.
A spiral notebook. Okay, we need to track what we're spending money on, so we know what our categories were, so we could actually track it. And I said, I'd come home. Did you put on the notebook what you spent? And at first, she's thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's driving me crazy. But you got into it, and
you make it a game. I mean, it's kind of like when you're really into your losing weight thing, and you're counting your calories, and you're writing your food down, and if your protein, sugars, blah blah blah. It's the same thing. When you're into it, and you're in your zone, and
whatever gets you motivated.
Yes,
you gotta do it, right?
And you would see patterns, and some of the patterns are okay, and some of the patterns like, wow, we're spending $100 a month on sodas, and we're a house payment behind. This does not make any sense.
That's not smart, right?
No.
It's basic math.
You're right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So then we modified what we were spending money on. Some things we continued to use, others we didn't. One of them, what the categories was eating out. We didn't realize how much money we were spending on eating out. Again, behind in car payments, and we're spending a couple $100 a month on.
But the kids really like McDonald's
That's
French
true.
fries.
I really like McDonald's French fries.
I think they put something in that to keep us addicted to them.
So when the families would all get together, one of the things was going out to eat. We had to make the decision. Okay,
right?
We're not going. And sometimes that was hard.
But sometimes we could go because it was in our budget. But we couldn't go all the time. Yes,
right. Because we budgeted for it. We said, okay, this month we're going to. We had it down how much we spent on groceries, eating out, gas. So we tried to stay within those categories. Right. So we're able to make those kind of decisions. Okay, when these people come in town, we can go out to eat. Just to go at the first spur of the moment, we choose not to, not that we can't.
Right. Yeah, that's an important distinction. Totally. So did you guys find that when you started to figure out some of these money things and work together, did it improve other areas of your relationship in your life, not just financially?
Yeah, I mean, we really, after we sat down and realized we were in a big hole, at least we knew. We didn't know exactly how to change it at the time, but we knew we needed to do something different. And then as things got better, the stress wasn't there. If the transmission goes out in the car, you're spending a lot of money, but you have the money to spend for it because you've allocated for it the past 3 years. So the stress wasn't there in our lives about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We got to enjoy each other's company more.
You talk instead of argue.
Yeah. Just
that cloud hanging over you.
Yeah, and we did family vacations with camping and different things, and had a blast. Taught the kids a lot of stuff on how to do stuff outdoors, but it was just we got along better. Not perfect because we're opposites in many ways, but things got better. We budgeted for if we want to go away for a weekend, we were able to do that and not have to stress how am I going to pay for this when I get back. The money was there.
Yeah, totally. Well, you guys have mentioned that you've done some kind of one-on-one coaching with others. So, people listening to this are going to be in a wide range of scenarios. Some are going to be maybe on that younger end and just starting out and not really wanting to think about some of these things, or thinking, that sounds great, guys. How do I even get started? Others are maybe have built up quite a bit of debt and feel like, I just don't see how the math is going to work out. What's like the one thing you would say? Let's think of somebody younger. If you were to talk to the 25-year-old Norm Glynis, what would you want to tell them to do, and to be able to maybe even jumpstart this process for them?
Well, of course, I'm going to say saving money. Yes. I mean,
Saving money first, would you say? Like before you do anything else? If it's possible?
Yeah. I mean, and by saving money, it doesn't mean that you put half of your paycheck
Right.
into a savings account, but you just get in the
Start
habit of
somewhere.
saving. Like every week when I get paid, I'm putting $20, even if it's in a cookie jar in your
Yeah.
kitchen,
Yeah.
And saving money and realizing that you don't need every new gadget out there. Having a better phone or name brand clothes don't make you a better person. Your car isn't who you are. A car is a tool to get you from one place to another. And to dream with your vision, like I said, really, what do you want out of your life? Where do you want to be? Do you want to travel? Do you want to have kids? Do you want a college degree? Where are you? What do you want? What fuels you? What is, what are your goals? What's the gifts that are inside you that you want to use for mankind, for yourself, for your community, for God, for your church, just your family. And then when you have that inside of you, then it's like, okay, so how am I going to get there? What rocket ship do I need to get in to take me to this place? And part of it's going to be your finances.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me is driving home contentment more at an earlier age. I was young when we started this, but not being freaked out or worried that we weren't able to do the large vacations or the giant house or whatever at the time, and being it's okay, giving us more credit than we probably gave ourselves credit for at the time.
That's what I was thinking is that. So I graduated from high school. I started working at White Castle, and I didn't really know I was good at anything, but apparently I was, because I got moved from an operator to an instructor, and then from an instructor to a shift manager, and then a shift manager to an assistant supervisor, all probably within like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I even had any skills to lead people. I'd never done it before. And then, and I think throughout life, you doubt yourself, you doubt your possibilities, your capabilities. I mean, I do. I mean, maybe not everyone does, but the sky is the limit, is how I feel when you put your mind and resources into a goal or a vision. And don't doubt yourself when you're young. Just because you're young, definitely don't doubt yourself. The youth are the life of our nation. I mean, we have 4 kids that are almost all in their 30s now. And I mean, I look to them for advice. I mean, I know they do us also, but for advice and inspiration, and just because you're young, you're not unimportant.
Right.
And you can make a difference in the world and an impact. And God's put you here for a purpose, and it also does include your finances too.
Right. Let that work for you. Let it fund those visions and those dreams that you have, making it work.
Yeah, and realizing some of the skills that that we had at the time that we didn't know. Glynis mentioned her; she was able to lead people, not even knowing that was a skill. Mine was probably being able to have the ability to work and fix almost anything. I thought that was just a natural thing.
He can't
people
put
had.
a small girl's hair in a ponytail, though.
And I can't. It's real hard for me to
very
back up a
tricky.
trailer.
I feel you there, Norm.
Oh, you can't back up a trailer or
No.
put tights on a small child.
Oh, that's
either.
impossible.
Oh, you got a list going.
They need a YouTube video.
It's
for
only
that.
3 things, or you can't kill any kind of animal, spider, snake, or anything either.
That's not a.
But that's why I love them.
That's a. I don't know if that's a skill. That's a character.
That's just, I'm just not doing that.
Honey, come kill
Not
this
saying I couldn't
copperhead.
do that. I'm just not.
Oh, just put him in the woods.
we'll let it
He'll
go
be
later.
fine.
There's a big difference.
But yeah, realizing as a young person, you guys have there's a lot of skills that you have that you don't even know that you have. Just because it's easy for you does not mean it's easy for somebody else to do. And realizing, okay, if I need to make more money, or have a side gig, you have a skill that that can.
There's something, if you can market it, there's something there you can do.
There's something there.
And I tell you what, man, now with technology and information is so available and prevalent. I mean, you can learn to do so many things, and you can teach people to do things. Go on YouTube, start a YouTube channel, start a whatever. There's all kinds of possibilities there. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, just try
Which
something
would
and see what
mean
happens.
you're young again and you know how to do that, unlike old people.
But luckily, there's YouTube videos for stuff we don't know.
Oh,
Right.
to learn how to do YouTube videos.
I guarantee you there's a YouTube tutorial on how to do a YouTube video. But I would say, too, I think this especially applies for people with kind of I would say a faith background, blue collar. We get so... I'm in different environments. Sometimes I'm in more of a church Christian environment. Sometimes in more of a business environment. And it's funny to me, what I notice is business people don't mind talking about money and don't mind just kind of sharing. And sometimes they overshare. And then you go into church and everybody gets all uptight about it and shuts up and doesn't want to say anything. And it's like, I think we take the scriptures about not being prideful about your money and loving it to a place where it almost like makes us feel guilty. And I think like a lot of things, especially inside the church, we don't talk about it, and then people struggle with it and don't know how to get out of it. So I think talk to somebody if you're struggling. Man, don't try to just keep, like you said, keep up with Jones, pretend everything's going all right. Just be vulnerable, open. You're gonna be surprised, I think, how many other people you're in the same boat as them.
We love it when we get together, especially with all of our kids or like Norm's brother. I mean, that's it. And his nephews, it's all on money. Some people
Really?
are politics or whatever, but we're all like,
That's what you
I
talk
bought
about.
a house and I paid this much for it and I got my interest rate and my payments are. And like to us, to some people, that's like, you don't tell
speak
them
about
that.
those things.
But
Right.
unfortunately for some of us, it's usually generally bragging about what a great deal we got.
Right.
Because we're all
That's tried and true
like-minded.
Midwest right there.
Well, and
I
we're
got
all
that on sale.
like-minded in trying to get the best deal, and so because we can use our money in the best way, you know.
right.
So
Right.
it's a shared place of happiness.
Yeah, because so our money can make us money.
Yeah.
And it's not I don't know if it's necessarily bragging, but just being open and honest. It's not a taboo thing.
No. We're all dealing with it.
Yeah.
We all need a certain aspect of it, and we're all given an opportunity to do something with it. And so it's
Yes.
it's a measure of your stewardship.
And just
Yes.
learning from each other. We've made
Yes.
mistakes over
Yeah.
the years.
Absolutely.
But man, when you have somebody that's gone through it and they found out how to be successful with it, learn from that person.
Like just like maybe fun tools or things that you've used to help you budget, I mean, is it like old school spreadsheet notepads, anything online or anything with your phone?
I mean, spreadsheets years ago, like I mentioned, we had it marked on the wall, and then we would each month we would, for the debt, we would make mark it off. But then when it switched, and especially now with technology, you can see what your 401k is doing immediately. You can see what your stuff is working. You have to find something that's going to work for you.
Right.
There's, tracking your expenses. That can be not a lot of fun, but it's just, you have to make it part of your normal stuff.
Right.
Trying to save a little bit more, spending less than you make on a consistent basis. Finding the games, whatever works for you. We're teasing about buying the air fryer or buying stuff on Marketplace. Whatever works.
Yeah.
I think Dave Ramsey has a lot of online tools now for.
Yeah, he's got some budgeting apps and things.
And that's all like new to us.
Right.
They didn't have those things, but I know with some of our last courses, some of our people that attended started using those, and they talked that they were pretty easy to use, and
Pretty
they were
intuitive.
helpful.
Yeah, and there's like Mint.com has some stuff. I use like I don't even think they make it anymore, but it's an iPhone app that does like a kind of a balanced forecasting thing, so I can put in all my expenses and income and then project out, where it's going to be.
How your month is going.
Yeah, right, exactly how your month's going. But you have to put everything in there, otherwise it doesn't make sense, doesn't work.
I mean, in the world today, everything is pretty much cashless.
Right.
I mean, we're old school, and that big old brick building called the bank was part of your life.
Yes.
And now they're
Do you
closed
still-
all the
I said,
time.
do you still go to that
because
thing?
I tried to go to 2 for work the other day, and it's like their insides were closed. I mean,
Right.
literally the
Right.
inside of the
Yeah.
was closed,
No,
maybe
I-
because of COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, like cash though, Dave Ramsey does talk a lot about that, and we really believe in that too for
Yeah.
your everyday expenses.
Yeah.
You know, getting that cash in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
This is how much I have in my wallet that I can spend for eating out this week. So that means I can't go every day. So that means I must take my lunch 2 or 3 times a week
Right.
to work. And A, it gives you freedom because you can go sometimes, and B, it gives you boundaries because you can only go as much times as that money that you yourself have allotted, or your
Right.
spouse.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for us, we this only works because we have our budget under control for the most part.
Yes.
Is that I automate as much as I can, so I have automatic. As soon as I get paid, 2 things happen. Money moves into my savings account, a percentage of that. Money moves into my retirement. And then, for me, I tithe. So then my tithe comes out right away. So I never touch, the first
Right.
percentage of that, because that's like, giving back and paying myself. I believe that should happen first.
And that's just an easy way to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, and then you don't have to think about it. But then you have to pay attention, because it's like you don't want to run out of month before you run out of funds. And so that
In your
we
main
use,
checking account.
Right. And so we use, we're old school too. We still use cash
Yeah.
when we can for certain things, like groceries.
Groceries,
and
we always were. Entertainment.
Yes. Yeah, that really helps keep control
Gas
of
in the
that.
past, I don't think we were as much
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
as we used to be. But yeah, definitely
Whatever.
you're eating out. and-
Right. Right. Those things,
Things
they
like
can
that.
get away from you quick.
Well, and it's a good way to teach your kids too, because you're like, okay, we have $20 left in our eat out account. So where can we go that everybody will be fed for $20? And then,
Then you're back to White Castle again.
oh, White Castle is
This
so
is all-
expensive now.
Are they? It's like my wife's
But guess
favorite.
what?
They're good.
It's still really good. I had some
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You mentioned doing the
I only
auto-
worked there 7 years,
Yeah.
Tim.
7
It
years?
was so many moons ago.
Man, do you still like smell partially like onions? Like I feel like that you walk into that place and it's just you can smell
Back
and
in the
feel
day,
the
man,
grease
and get
and the
on your
onions.
uniform and you just come home and
Yeah.
smell like a big White Castle.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you sit in the car and sleep because you were so tired.
That was true. I did that too.
But you talk about setting stuff automatically. I think that's pretty key, because if you see it, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, I have all this money. If you go ahead and I used to call it embezzling from yourself. Having the money go somewhere before you even have access to it,
Right.
whether it's your retirement, whether it's to pay a certain bill. So it automatically sets up. Having it, it goes in your main checking account, having to where it goes to your long-term type freedom accounts or whatever on a monthly basis. We still do that. There's a certain amount that hits the main checking account, but a lot of it is pre-allocated to the various freedom accounts.
Yeah.
So the only time I really have to touch is when I need something for the house, or I have to get something for the car. Then that money's already there and already
We
allocated.
had to get 4 new tires, but it was for my car, so I was happy.
So it benefited you,
Yes,
right?
yes.
No, but you're right. When you have those funds there, it's not fun thinking about pre-spending your money, but once it's like it's already spent in some ways. So
Yeah.
emotionally, it doesn't feel like such a panic and emergency when you've already got plans for all of those aspects.
Hey, thinking a little bit different story about benefits of being financially stable and things like that is that since we've stated many times that we're like moving into our late 50s now. And
What?
2 years ago,
Speak for yourself.
well, Tim's not.
No,
He's-
I mean Norm. He's
Oh, okay.
clearly identifying as a much
Tim's
younger
only
person.
37 years old.
I didn't mean, guys. Hey,
47. No, 37.
No, 37.
Okay.
Soon to be
So,
38.
different story. Whoop. 2 years ago, Norm had a heart attack while we were on a cruise ship. That was really fun.
Yeah.
wow.
So,
That was not fun.
yeah, it wasn't
Wow.
fun.
It was fun
but
before that.
God is good. So yes, so he had the heart attack and had to recover from that and was off from work and different things. And then this January, I had a knee replacement and the same thing. And for me, there actually were a couple weeks that I had to go without getting paid. And I mean, if you think and you see and you hear, and to me, it's heart-wrenching as people get older, then maybe they're not in the best financial situation, how
Yeah.
that can really take a toll on their
Right.
finances. And thankfully, because of the steps that we've taken, we're both doing really great now too,
That's
just in case someone cares. But yeah, those were big
Yeah,
hits that
absolutely.
could have devastated us if we hadn't prepared.
Right.
That's
Right.
even with like health savings accounts and even just different things like
Yeah.
that. Always using your resources that you have to protect what you have and to further what you have.
Right. Yeah, because life happens.
Because
And-
we've had sat down with people in the past, and they'll be about our stage of the game here, and lose a job, and within a month they're scrambling. And
Yeah.
but after, and this is after somebody has worked 40 years. It should not
Right,
be like that.
right.
It shouldn't be to where, my gosh, I'm out of work for a month. I realize things happen, but if you can. They used to call it rainy day funds or whatever. It's going to rain sometime.
Right.
Yes.
It
Grandma's
really
rainy
is.
day fund.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
And try to get it to where when we had those emergencies, so we had 2 back-to-back events. It was painful in certain ways, but the money was not really part of the issue. It's
Yeah.
not part of the equation.
It gave
didn't
us
scare us. It didn't
so we ended up having to stay in Florida for your heart attack and
Yeah.
a few nights, like 4 or 5 nights extra in a hotel. And then there was the hospital bills, and then our flights were changed and they were doubled. And not saying that we loved spending our money that way, but we had it.
Right, but at
and
least,
so
yeah.
when you're trying to deal with something emotional and physical like a heart attack, and it could have been a loss of life, we also weren't dealing with,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, how am I going to pay this credit card bill when it comes in
Right.
from all these expenses?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
God is good.
Hey, man, man, that says it all right there. I mean, if you needed a why, there you have it. That's for nothing else for that, but there's so much more, and so that's incredible. Well, I think that if you're listening to this, and like we said earlier, wherever you're at, don't listen to these stories and let it inspire you. Don't let it make you feel like I'll never get there, or that I'm not willing to make that commitment. Just take a step, whatever that might be. Maybe that's finding a local financial class you can be a part of. Financial Peace University. If you go to Dave Ramsey's website, there's always listings for places. Our church in House Springs, outside of St. Louis, we offer them regularly. We'd love to have you part of that. Talk to a financial coach. Maybe you're someone that is a little further along, and you just need to speak to an advisor about making sure you're properly prepared for retirement and what that looks like. Whatever. Just talk to somebody, share that, and just there's so much out there, like we've said, that's good information. So thank you guys for sharing your story and your journey, and it's just exciting to be able to see what God's done with us, and we're not finished by any means. There's still
We still
a lot
have lots
to do.
to learn.
Absolutely.
Never stop learning and growing.
That's right. That's right.
And if some people get so afraid they don't do anything,
Right.
and that's the first step, is to getting over that fear.
Paralyzed.
Paralyzed.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yep.
I mean,
Yes, you
you
can.
can do it. It's not an overnight switch. It's just
Right.
plugging a little
Right.
away. But yeah, you can get there.
Right.
And you're going to have setbacks, and when you do, it's not the end of the world. You just regroup and try not to fall back again. It's kind of like when
Right.
you're dieting and you have a big chocolate sundae.
That sounds good.
You can't do that. You can't do that every night,
That's
but you
right.
can do it, for a
Right.
birthday or something.
Right. Right.
So
and get right back on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
I just love Norm and Glynis. Their story is so powerful because it reminds us that we can build things that last and use the resources in our hands for good. It's a journey, so wherever you're at, take some time after listening to think through how you can take even just one step to build a healthy relationship with money. And if you're struggling, ask someone for help. We'll put those resources they mentioned in the notes so you can check them out. If you don't already have a plan, this will be a great help to you. I know it's a big conversation and there's a lot to it, but I hope it encouraged you right where you're at. If so, would you mind sharing this conversation on social media, or maybe even just send it to a friend right now? We'd also love for you to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast so that you're the first to know when the next episode is live. Thanks again for tuning in, and be on the lookout for the next episode as we continue to discover what matters most.